Hi, sailors. Welcome to our SpinSheet Start Sailing Now Extra. We're here with Ron and Holly Foster. So welcome, Ron and Holly.
Hey,
Thank
nice to
you.
be here.
Full disclosure, Holly is a SpinSheet staffer and has been for about 6 years. We want to talk to Ron and Holly today to talk a little bit more about what's in the October profile, and that's this dream of sailing and cruising that they've had for a lot of years and how sailing fits in with the rest of their life. So you guys have a busy lifestyle and you're very involved with your family, but yet you've taken the leap really to do more cruising than before. So tell us about that.
We started a long time ago. About 20 years ago, I guess. I took sailing lessons down in the British Virgin Islands. Ron.
I was always quick to say, don't they teach sailing in Annapolis?
But no, the British Virgin Islands they didn't teach sailing at all in Annapolis. We went down there with a girlfriend to take a sailing course, and honestly, I just expected it to be just a fun getaway, and I wound up totally getting hooked. So since then, which was about 20 years ago or so, immediately afterwards adopted a boat from a Methodist camp on the West River and took care of the boat. And we would sail when the kids were not using the boat.
The camp was great with us. They basically let us treat it like our boat if we took good care of it, and they only used it a couple weeks out of the year. So It was Holly's first baby.
Yeah. And through the years, one boat would die, I'd get another boat, that boat would die, I'd get another boat. But back then, 20 years ago, we definitely had younger children that were super involved in sports and school, and Ron is the minister of a church, so we were crazy busy with that. So it was hard to make it all work, particularly because we were an hour away from Annapolis. So we had an hour's drive to get to the boat, and then we'd go out for just a couple hours and then come back. But it was still so much fun, and I loved working on those boats. I didn't have to rebuild an engine, but I had to try and make it look good and presentable for the kids, and it was great. And I probably wasn't really equipped to do this, but I did it anyway. I took our family and another family, and we bareboated down in the British Virgin Islands, and I had to keep my family and this other family alive for a whole week, and we did that, which was great, and that gave me a lot of confidence. Prior to doing that, though, I found somebody online who was racing out of Harrington Harbor North, and I would come down once a week and race with him and his crew. I didn't learn quite as much as I expected that I would learn. Really, the thing that I learned the most from this particular captain was how to string as many swear words together as possible to make a complete sentence. he was
the other side of sailing.
He was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But anyway, we have had since moved up here to Annapolis,
and that made it a lot easier. When we weren't driving, having to tack on an hour each way. So over the last 6 years since we've lived in Annapolis, the amount of sailing we've been able to do has grown a lot.
Yeah, because one of the things I wanted to find out from you is how do you first of all tell us about your newest boat, but how do you make that fit into your busy life, right? Because you guys have a lot of other passions and hobbies and a family that you're involved with.
So basically, Holly looks at any free block of time we have and says that's sailing time. That's pretty much the simple answer to that. I'm a pastor of a church in Savannah Park, and so weekends are complicated, to say the least. Our kids are grown, so we have less of those commitments that we used to have. So we do have a lot more flexibility, say, during the week than we used to have, and a little more flexibility on weekends. I'm not coaching soccer or coaching basketball anymore, and so those things are gone. It's given us a lot more time to work sailing in.
We do have a new boat.
A newer boat.
Yeah.
New to you.
New to us. Boat.
This past fall, when our 1978 Catalina really died for the last time, and we were really on a first name basis with the boat US guys, the towboat guys. Anyway, ultimately decided on a 2007 Catalina 310, and it's got a lot more bells and whistles, a lot more stuff to know about this boat, but it's really, really nice. 2 weekends ago, we were in quarantine.
One of the benefits of being in quarantine during this coronavirus, our granddaughter had contracted COVID, so I couldn't go into church on a Sunday. So Holly immediately saw the opportunity for us to go cruising and spend some nights on the boat. I recorded my sermon in Eastport on that Friday afternoon. It was shown as part of the worship service, but we were out of here.
Ron, any advice for spouses of passionate sailors?
Passionate
I know
sailors?
you enjoy sailing, but it might be more Holly's passion, but I know you like it too. Any advice for
I
spouses?
really enjoy sailing. Occasionally I get accused of not liking sailing enough because I don't want to sail every single day. Yeah, I do. I love to bike. I love to kayak. We love to do other things as well. And so I think it's about finding that balance, right? And finding, making it sure it's fun for both partners and making sure it's going to feel like a getaway. So we had a getaway with terrible winds up to Rock Hall a couple weekends ago.
It wasn't windy enough.
It was no wind. There's just no wind. And so it really was more of a motoring experience than it was a sailing experience, but it was still fun to get the experience of hanging out in the harbor for a couple days and doing stuff on land and eating at local restaurant, things like that. So we got to experience and taste that side of cruising, even if the winds weren't favorable that particular trip. And so I think what we're coming to experience is not just the sailing part of it, but the exploring side of it as well. We spent more nights on the boat during this COVID crisis because we've been able to just go and be on the boat. So we've probably spent more nights this year on our boat than we had any cumulatively up till this time. And that's been fun too. It's kind of like camping on the water.
This new one is very special. We renamed her Sweet Charlie. Our little granddaughter's name is Charlie. So and since she's the first granddaughter, she got the name. So anyway, so I love her. I love my granddaughter, and I also love this boat.
And she does love her granddaughter more, but only slightly.
Well, thank you both so much for sharing your journey and your adventure with us. And we wish you many, many happy sails on Sweet Charlie.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.